Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's going on, folks? Hope everybody out there today is doing fantastic. Hope you guys have had a good week. We are live once again. It is Friday, 12 noon. As I said, I'm Tom. This is my show. What's up? This is episode number 183. Very glad you guys could join us today. It's going to be time for a haircut again very soon. I had one after 3-4 months, like a lot of us have. The thing is, it's growing back out. Hey, listen, at my age, I'm just happy to still be growing hair. That's all I'm going to say to you. So, I hope you guys are doing great out there, man. Hello, everybody who's showing up in the comments section right now. We've got a lot of our regulars here showing up. Jamel, what's up in Vegas? Jamel, it must suck to not be able to tell anybody what you do with your life because, as you know, what happens in Vegas. Sorry, it's cornball. Anyway, Brad, what's going on? Shane, yes, sir. WWE has bought Evolve Wrestling. What's up, Barry? Good to see you again, my friend. Brendan, what's going on? Yeah, man, the news has come along. We've been hearing rumors about this potential purchase over the past several months. After one, I'm not extremely happy about it, if I'm being honest with you. The boy and I got a chance to go to some Evolve shows last year. Had fun. It's always a fun show. I just tweeted out that I'm hoping that they deal with the talent fairly and that those talents get an opportunity in WWE or at least NXT. I don't know how I feel about it, man. Actually, I know how I feel about it. You want to get into that? Let's talk about it for a sec. Here's how I feel about it. Vince McMahon is once again buying up territories. That's what he did before. That's what he's trying to do again. He's trying to bolster his roster with even more people. This is what happens when you run a sloppy shop, as Taz suggested. I'm sorry. I agree with him. In Vince McMahon's world, the COVID-19 thing is not that big of a deal. And, Vince is a Republican. I'm sorry. It's how I feel. Sorry, not to make it all political on you, but I'm just calling it like I see it, man. The thing is very real. Unfortunately, for all of us, we don't want it to be real. You want Santa Claus to be real doesn't mean it is true. Maybe that's a weird comparison. You know what I'm saying, though, right? Shane said the Kari saying is leaving WWE. That's the rumor. That's the scuttlebutt. Jamie asked, do you see Evolve talent showing up next week at NXT? We'll see. It might be a bit soon, but Evolve has some fantastic work, fantastic talents and fantastic workers. Top-notch guys, not the least of which was J.D. Drake, who's a mainstay of high-velocity wrestling, who got his start in HVW. That's the truth. The pro wrestling company of which I'm the social media director and talent relations guy, coordinator, I guess you could call it. I wear a lot of hats in that company, as I've said multiple times in the past. But JD actually got his start in HVW. So we know what he brings to the table. The Evolve fans know what he brings to the table. So Brad says, yes, I totally agree. He doesn't care about anything other than his own checkbook, as proven by all the reports of COVID-19 breakouts in his company. He doesn't care. I don't know if he doesn't care, Brad, but it certainly seems to be the case. I can't put words in the guy's mouth, and I can't sit here and presume to know what he is or isn't thinking. But I do know that if you're basing this thing on track record, basing it on history, then you have to say that, he operates in his own little bubble, and they have for a very, very long time. No new news on Kelly Klein. Chris, you and I both, and along with many other fans, are hoping that she lands on her feet in a pro wrestling company very soon. Hopefully one that is continuing to do business and one that is being safe at the moment. So, folks, we got lots to talk about today. We're going to get the ticker going along the bottom there. Let's go ahead. You've seen the topic of today's show. So we're going to go ahead and start touching on it right now. I don't know if you tuned into Wrestling Rumors Facebook on Wednesday night, but yours truly went live after the first night of Fyter Fest went down. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this if you don't want to, but if you guys have some thoughts on Fyter Fest, what did you like? What did you not like? That kind of thing. I'm curious to know. I want to hear your thoughts. What did you like about the show? What didn't you like about the show? What was it that spoke to you? What was it you thought they maybe could have done better? That kind of thing. Let's see. Juanita says, just to know who you're talking about. Right now, we're talking about Fyter Fest. Let's see. Let's see. Corey says, I can't wait for Mox versus Lance. That's going to be fun. Lance Archer is a big, big deal. He and Mox have they faced off yet? Or am I thinking of Lance and Cody, right? I'm thinking of Lance and Cody, I suppose, right? Christopher says, I liked it. Mox's match is on hold, correct? Mark says, yes. So Brad says, I totally love the women's championship match. Yeah, I enjoyed it pretty much. Same here. So John Moxley's match, supposedly the word is that it was being taped yesterday, but that it's not going to be shown until July 15th. Now, whether or not it's being taped yesterday, I'm not sure, but that was the word. Supposedly, I mean, not supposedly, but you guys know that his wife, Renee Young, tested positive for COVID-19. Now, supposedly she's tested negative, but he's taking every precaution, as he should. It's a very, very big deal. Bill is asking about CM Punk. I don't know, brother. I've been talking about Punk since the day he left and before, and probably always will. Here's what I'll tell you, my friend. You believe it when you see it, as will I, as will everyone else. Victor says, best part to me was best friends getting dropped off by his mom in minivan. I couldn't agree more. That was fantastic. And you know what was nice is that his mom was on Twitter and gave a shout out to her son and said it was the best day of her life, which is very cool. If I could get my mom involved in something like that, let her just, and she didn't care. I don't know, the thing was about her being on TV. It was just about her being there for her son. That was pretty sweet. Jamel says, I don't like fake title shots. I need at least one title change or even a match if the title might switch hands. I don't know if I would call them fake title shots. I think what matters the most is during the course of the match, if you were drawn in and believed that this thing was actually going to change. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, man? How are you feeling about that right now? To me, I thought the matches were good. I thought Hikaru Shida and Penelope Ford had a good match. Best Penelope Ford match I've ever seen. I can't tell you I followed her entire career from start to finish, but I will say that it's the best I think that she's ever looked, for sure. Carlos says, who was the girl in the crowd with the pink hair at Fighter Fest? Or was it? I'm not sure, Carlos. I have to go back and watch that again. Let's see. Brandon says, I hope to see a Cody and Hager rematch. I enjoyed that match. Same here. So Brandon Jake Hager has been storyline suspended for 10 days for striking an official. You knew something was up when you saw a referee in there that maybe you haven't seen only a handful of times. So that kind of told you something was up. It told me for sure. Before the match even started, I said, that's an odd choice for a referee. It's just how I felt. Usually for big matches, they'll use Aubrey Edwards or Rick Knox, but they didn't this time. So very odd. What's up, Elvis Martinez? Thanks for hanging out, my friend. Folks, if you were just listening to the show because you subscribed on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, first of all, thank you very much. If you're not watching the live version, man, you're missing out. This is Wrestling Rumors Facebook page, and we go live almost every Friday. Some Fridays we can't do it for whatever reason, but usually Fridays on 12 at noon is when we go live. So there you go. Let's see. Timothy. Let's see who else we got. Jamil says the matches were great. I just knew going in, no one would change, and it takes from the show. Well, fair enough. I'm not going to argue your point. I totally get where you're coming from for sure. Shane says Penelope Ford needs to quit being a valet. Didn't we talk about this last week, Shane? I think I addressed that last week for sure. Like I said to you last week, man, I agree with you to a certain extent, but they haven't portrayed Penelope Ford as being a viable title contender until just recently. So I think that has to continue in order for me to consider her a serious, legitimate threat to the championship. And I think that they know that. For next week, do you see Joey getting killed next week? Corey says by Lance Archer. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead, man. He'll make it interesting. I'm sure they'll make it. And I mean, Sonny Kiss will be involved. Odd tag team with him and Janela, but it is what it is, right? Funny, entertaining at the very least. But yeah, it'll probably be a train wreck. Let's just call it for what it is. I'm watching some New Japan right now, honestly. So. Let's see. Carlos says he's going to do Bellator. I heard that's why they wrote him, and which would make perfect sense. He is undefeated in MMA. He's only had 2 fights, right? Timothy says I was happy that Private Party won the other night. I can't say that the match was the best thing I've ever seen, but they're growing on me. I feel like they're missing something. I don't know if Matt's what they're missing. I feel like that I don't know, and maybe it's just me. I just feel like there's another thing that they don't have. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm just maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So let's see what else we got going on here. Did you see the leaked picture from NXT? No, Rick, and don't spoil it. I don't know what the leaked picture is. Please don't announce it here. I don't want to know. Don't anyone tell me. If I had to guess, I would say it's Lee winning the whole thing. And then Adam Cole's going to move on to the main roster. But Shane says Cage will beat Moxley. Mox is better being the hunter instead of the hunted. I agree with that to a certain extent, Shane. I'm not going to shoot you down. I totally get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I like him as champ, but it would make more sense to put it on Cage in terms of the presentation, he and Taz and everything. He'd be unstoppable. I mean, he's the Brock Lesnar of that company, except he's there. He's actually working. I'm sorry. I tease. But he's got the F10 instead of the F5. I get the comparisons, that kind of thing. So thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Corey, a regular of the show. Thank you, my friend. Orange beats Chris. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris does a job for him at all. I would not be surprised in the slightest. So we'll have to see how that goes. But, yeah, nothing would surprise me at this point when it comes to Chris Jericho. By the way, he was fantastic. Maybe the best part of the first night of Fyter Fest. Off the charts, off the chain, as the kids say, was Chris Jericho's commentary. He was utterly fantastic. I enjoyed every second of it. The first thing he did when he came out at Pyro, he said, Excalibur, you ever had Pyro, you dumb idiot? He's screaming at the top of his lungs. I can't get that line out of my head. It's so funny. It's so funny. Mark, my God, Mark, let's talk about your topic. Why is Corbin having a fit for having to... Mark, I don't know. Mark. We're not on NXT right now. We can get to NXT if you want to. We're not even on the main roster today. We're on NXT, AEW, New Japan. Bro. I had to throw the bro in, okay? Brother, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this, to be honest with you. If anybody should have a fit for having to work real, it should be having to work in this match should be real having to work Corbin. Because, you got how much does Corbin weigh? 220 maybe? You got to carry Corbin's carcass on your back for an entire match? Yikes. That's who should be having a fit here, not Corbin. What's up, Alma? How are you today? Brandon says, Chris on commentary reminds me of when Mr. Perfect did it. Good callback. Really good callback. So, yeah, Chris was fantastic, Christopher. I totally agree with you. Barry says, still not right that Cage gets an automatic title shot. Barry, I want you to remember what you're talking about here. If this were WWE, I would tell you that you got to remember what company you're talking about. I mean, just to be in all due fairness, I'll say the same. It's AEW. I mean, it's what they're rolling with. And in more interest of fairness, if I can say it that way, this is pro wrestling. This is not a work your way up from the bottom kind of scenario. Barry, if you're old school like I am, and you came up watching the territories like I did, then you were used to that natural progression. You were used to the champion, Flair, telling the guy that wanted a shot, listen, pal, you got to get at the back of the line. There's a whole lot of other people in front of you that deserve and have earned and worked hard to get the title shot. And if you get your chance one day, I'll step into the ring with you like a man. If you were raised on that like I was, then that's maybe where your frame of reference is coming from. If not, think about this. Whether it is or isn't, it's pro wrestling, man. It's not decided by you start out on the indie circuit and you work your way up. I mean, if it works out that way, so be it. If that's how they play it, so be it. But honestly, I'm not really feeling that. I'm not really feeling that, man. In all fairness, I don't know if that's how I feel about it. To me, it's like this is a championship in word only, and it's not a legitimate championship, as we all know. It's professional wrestling. I'm watching the unveiling of the Grand Master on New Japan, and I'm trying to figure out who it is. Shane, you're my New Japan guy. Tell me who I'm looking at right now. He looks familiar, but I can't place him. Shane, you're my New Japan hookup. I can't have the volume on, so I don't know what's going on right now. Brad says it's a man's soap opera. Yikes. I don't like thinking about calling it the Master Watto, but who is Watto? Yeah, crazy. Anyway, I got distracted. Squirrel! Sorry, my bad. It's funny. Elvis says, I want Omega to turn heel. Well, brother, hold on to your hats because maybe it's coming. You never can tell, kid. Let's see. Why is Eric Rowan not AW yet? I know he will end up there, Corey says. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Sandy in Germany, what's up? What's going on? What's up, Keith? Thanks for hanging out, bro. All right, man. So we've spent the first 15 on Fighter Fest. As I said before earlier, as we kicked off the show, I did go live with the results that night. In fact, there he is. Grandmaster Wato's here. New Japan. Great. I'll watch him with no volume, and we'll see how he does. He's got some blue hair. Dude, I love the Japanese. Can I just tell you real quick, in all due fairness, I love the Japanese anime stuff. Dude, if we could have more of that in this country, that'd be awesome. I love that. You know, I've never dyed my hair color because it's never been my thing. And then plus, I'm at the age I'm afraid to put anything in my hair. I'm afraid it'll all fall out. Now he's going to talk, and Tim Buck says he's going to speak all Japanese. Boo! Anyway, they don't have the American version of last night's show up yet, so sorry, once again, distracted. My bad. Let's get back to the show, shall we? Let's talk about the Great American Bash. There it is. I didn't watch the show until last night. So Mark says, how do you stream New Japan? New Japan World is the app. It's legit $10 a month. It's legit $10 a month. It's not like $9.99 and some change. It's $10 a month. So Stanley says AEW has only lost the ratings 4 to 6 times since this rating war started. AEW has beat NXT no less than 38 times. Get edge. Stanley, I'm not sure who you're talking about or who you're talking to. I don't know. Okay. Did I say that WWE is beating or NXT is beating AEW? I'm confused. You lost me. Are you talking? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But yeah, no, I'm aware of that. Thank you, though. So let's talk about the Great American Bash. As I said, I only watched it last night. So real quick, we'll fly through this. The women's match was way too long, in my humble opinion. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I just thought it was too long. I think it could have lost a few minutes, but not lost a beat. Tegan Knox, of course, with the win. Oh, okay, Roland. All right, cool. Thank you, man. Stanley, no worries, bro. My bad for not getting the context there. My apologies. Bailey and Sasha, I'm sorry, we'll cut to, next was a Damian Priest promo backstage. Challenging Cameron Grimes to a one-on-one match. Well-spoken, looks great, all positive things. I interviewed Priest the year before, when he was still Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor. It was a good interview. So glad to see he's doing well. Bailey and Sasha are shown backstage getting ready for their match. Timothy Thatcher versus Oney Lorcan was a clinic. If you're an old school pro wrestling fan, then this match is for you. Lorcan tapped out. Thatcher refused to let go. Crazy good, mostly mat based. I don't even know how many times they actually left their feet in this match. If you're into that style of wrestling, then you love it. You love it. If not, you just tolerated it. So I'm an old school guy, and I love mat wrestling, so I really enjoyed it. How about that? We see Karrion Kross Vinette. WWE is fully behind this guy. It looks great. The combo with Scarlett is top notch. It's completely character driven. Kross is obviously a star, and WWE is totally on board. We've seen this before. They're totally on board. Give it some time. We'll see what happens after that. I'm always interested in what comes after this. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to be in the moment. It's a personality trait that I have. I was going to say flaw. It's not a flaw. I'm convinced it's not a flaw. So, yeah, it's hard for me to be in the moment, but I'm always looking to tomorrow. I'm always looking ahead. That's just where I'm coming from. Let's see. Handicap match between Rhea Ripley and versus Robert Stone and Aaliyah. Ripley continues to be a head scratcher as WWE was fully in her corner at one point. Now it's unknown what's going on. It's like they backed off of her and cooled down, and now she's just sort of there. It's no surprise the company has done this many, many times before. It's just what they do. Stone was great in this. He won me over, if I'm being honest with you. He's totally in his element. I maintain that it's a Tony Khan ripoff, but that's just my view. It is what it is. Total comedy in this match from the jump, thanks to Stone. Ripley destroyed both of them for the win. I didn't hate this match at all. I love Stone. He's made a fan out of me. 100%. Absolutely. Mark says, wait for Vince to kill Cross's character, which could actually happen for sure. Christopher, we're going to touch on this a little bit later toward the end of the show because I've got this as a topic. Chris says, I don't really care about the ratings war. They were both good. I agree. So, yeah. So I see they fed Doki to Grandmaster Wato, Shane. Shane, if you ever respond on the Grandmaster, I missed it, bro. Bronson Reed is impressive, man. Bronson Reed is totally impressive for sure. Let's go on with the rest of the show. Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong. It was a good match. Lots of hard-hitting action. WWE is obviously behind Lumis, no doubt about it. Way too long. way too long. If I'm being honest, and just my take, once again, if trimmed down, it would have been much better. It almost felt like a main event world title match. And had it been a main event world title match, I could have understood it going this long. I don't know that I get Loomis's character. I'm not in love with it. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not completely in love with it. The issue with the character that does not sell, it's the same thing that Bray Wyatt ran into with the Fiend gimmick. Do you want to know why the Fiend gimmick is not still going strong and it's the hottest thing on the planet Earth right now? Number one, WWE, because Vince tempers everything with his opinion and his worldview. Totally, that's number one, baby. But number two, you can only do that for so long, and people are going to lose interest. Because what will be, did you see that? Will suddenly become, I've seen this before. You see what I mean? It happened to Undertaker for a while too, very early on. It really did. And you can only do it for so long. Here's the issue you have. Why is, I'm going to rant. Rant warning. Who are my comic book people? Where you at? Why is Batman more relatable than Superman? Because you can't get Superman in trouble. Superman can't get in trouble. Superman can't get down. Superman can't really lose. He died before, but that was a long time ago. They brought him right back, right? You can't really put Superman in any kind of danger because he's untouchable. He's unstoppable. He's nearly invincible. Hard to get behind a character like that. Hard to read about that character. When you can't put him in any sort of distress, when the most you can do is go after his girl. Not that that's not a big deal, but you can't really do much to him. Where's the drama in that? Batman is fallible. He makes mistakes. He's tortured. He's trying to do the right thing, but he does it the wrong way. You can kill him, okay? Get the right shot in, he's a dead man. That's why Superman is not as relatable. So when it comes to those characters in pro wrestling, you've got to look human eventually. When they first turned Brock Lesnar babyface way back in the day, the first thing I said to a friend of mine was, and I'll never forget this, I said, it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with him now, because now he has to sell. Okay? And he did, but it was weird because baby faces, you're going to have to sell it. Dexter Lumis going to have to sell eventually. You see what I mean? That's the problem. So maybe, here's an idea, bold statement, maybe not set it up that way to begin with. Yikes. Do you think AEW and NXT will go head-to-head? Well, they are going head-to-head right now, Danny, for sure. For sure. Miss Lopez is here. Someone just told her good morning. So it's cool. Phantasma is a legit bad guy. He made me a fan. Oh, you're talking about NXT? Yeah. Yep. So let's get on with the show here, folks. I like Shane. I like your point. I'm going to show your point. I think the most underappreciated wrestler is Silas Young. If he was a bigger promotion to be a top heel. Yeah, I agree with that. And they've got Josh Banks with him. Josh Banks, is that right? I like the combination. Brennan says Brock as a face was terrible. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Totally. So someone asking about Claire in the UK. Not yet. If she has, I haven't seen her. Claire, if you're listening, what's up? Shout out to Claire in Manchester. I love saying that. All right, let's move on, folks. We get a Keith Lee promo, shows all his great moments over the past year. Adam Cole rebuts as only he can. Says it's because of him that Lee had any opportunities. Great package. Cole is always on. He's always great. He's pitch perfect. I can't say enough good things about Cole in the stick or in the ring. Cole is the total package. No disrespect to Lex Luger. Cole is the man, and I love this guy. I freaking love him, even more and more every time I see him. Finn Balor Vignette, a rewind of his greatest moments. Why is this guy on top of the world in every way possible? Question I've been asking myself since the day he came to WWE. Claire, there you are. Claire Jane Brown. This sounds like something they would write like a folk song about you. This is the ballad of Claire Jane Brown. What's up? Are you driving home from work right now? Be careful if you is driving home from work right now. Let's see. We go next to a backstage interview with Candice and Gargano. Candice jumped Mia Yim. Gargano in and confronted by Isaiah Swerve Scott. Looks like a war's come between the two. I'm here for it. I'm dialed in. I love Scott. I saw him in PWX down here in Charlotte when he was, can't remember his other name. Claire is not driving home today. Well, Claire's just hanging out watching the show and listening. Claire's one of the cool kids. If you've never watched before, you never listened before, why have you been wasting your life? Now you can catch yourself among the cool kids. What's up, Claire? Have fun working at home today. So next we get the NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar and Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wilde, a.k.a. El Legado del Fantasma, to the ring. Escobar dissed the Lucha culture, said they are more than masks and that they're going to discover the true roots of Lucha Libre. They're going to have a legacy and right the wrongs done to them. Drake Maverick returns as promptly laid out. Breezango out for the save. Then Taylor Long makes a 6-man tag team match playa. Just kidding, that didn't happen. But they are going to work next week. I like Escobar's group. Reminds me of La Facion Ingobernable in Ring of Honor, which is led by Roosh. Roosh. I can't roll my R's. I suck at it. But you get it, right? Totally reminds me of that. I dig the faction. If they get put on the main roster, I don't know what will happen to them at that point. But, you know, baby steps, folks, baby steps. I enjoy them right now. So let's see. Chris, where'd you go? Man, that's going to be a great rivalry, Gargano versus Swerve. I am so here for it. I'm so here for it. No news on Tessa Blanchard there, Barry, at this moment. Timothy says, I believe Adam Cole and Keith Lee will be on the SmackDown brand soon. Possibly. Yep, you're right, Victor. Well done. Good callback. He was kill shot in Lucha Underground. Yep. Yeah. I forgot about that. Actually, I totally forgot about that. But he was somebody else in PWX. Oh, I can't remember his name. I saw him work a couple of times in Charlotte. Corey says Bailey is 1,000% better than Banks. It's all subjective, my friend. It's all subjective. That's your opinion, right? All good. Sandy says Tom Clark is the man. Well, God bless you and yours, Sandy Klein in Germany. So, all right, let's go to this. Cameron Grimes backstage doing that silly little Cameron Grimes thing. Is still entertaining as heck to me. I love this guy. Says he's going to the top brand and wants to the top of the brand and wants Adam Cole, Keith Lee, whoever gets the NXT championship, he wants to face him. He proclaimed himself the number one contender. I love this guy. I don't know what more I can say about Cameron Grimes as been said already by me. I love this guy. He's awesome. Very, very fun. Love him. What's up, Danny? Welcome to the show, man. Let's see. Mercedes Martinez Vinette. She's back next week. Not really sure why she hasn't been on full time at this point. Don't really have a story there on my end, but I'd like to see him all the time. I'd like to see her all the time. Tom, do you ever get burnout on WWE watching Raw every week, hoping for a change, knowing I could write a better show, but I keep watching? Shane, can I be honest with you and everybody here watching? I don't watch Raw live every week. I just don't do it. I stopped doing it a long time ago. I catch the highlights. I watch it on DVR, but I'm not sitting through 3 hours of that. Now, if you are, more power to you, but I'm not. I'm not. I will watch Dynamite. I will watch NXT. I will watch New Japan. I will watch, go back and through the catalog or the archives of Ring of Honor and watch that. But I'm not watching Raw live. And you know what? If you want to, like I said, have fun. I'm not doing it, bro. I can't, man. I just can't. It's too much. Sandy says, Cameron Grimes grew on me. I hated him at first. Yeah, well, he's welcome to the party train. So I don't know where that came from. He's great. I love him. I love him. Okay, we got the main event of the show. Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. Banks and Bailey out. Eddie Grove style in a car. Bailey looking like a 5-year-old at the July 4th picnic. Sorry, just calling it like I sees it. Got to see a little hat and stuff. I like Bailey. Please don't get me wrong, but I'm just calling like I say it. Next out is the star, the NXT Women's Champ, Io Shirai. Can I be honest with you? I love Sasha. I like Bailey. It's all good. The package is all good. When Io came out, can I be honest with you? I know I'm biased because I know I love Io. You guys know I love Io. I'm in love with Io. So, I mean, I'm not, but I am. Okay. So, but here's the deal. As soon as Io came out and hit the stage, I said, well, here's the star. I felt like that's the star. That's just me. Maybe you guys don't see it that way. Maybe it's just me. I don't have any idea, but that's just how I see it. Let's see. The women's champion, Io Shirai, the match was rapid fire from the jump. Shirai was full force. They paired up very well together very early on. They really gelled. Io hits the Frankensteiner. Most beautiful Frankensteiner I've ever seen in my life. Was nailed by that right there. Sandy, I've still got your comment up there, man. Sandy's getting all kinds of press on the show today. His comments up there for like 20 minutes. This good stuff. Let's see. Frankie Steiner again, beautiful. Io seemed to be in charge for much of this match. The top rope spot with Io being slammed against the plexiglass, then onto the floor, took way too long and looked way too risky. I'm sure she's probably okay. She seemed to be okay after that. There was a schmoz at the end with Bayley getting involved. Asuka out of nowhere with the poison mist. Io hits the moonsault for the win. Asuka dancing around. Here's where it gets a little weird for me. Asuka dancing around, taking all the spotlight, putting all the attention on herself, probably because that's just what she's doing, not for any disrespect to Io or any other women in the match. I'm not happy with her right now in terms of how she's being portrayed. When she won the Raw Women's title, I'm the guy that wrote the column that said, now let's see how WWE handles her moving forward. I've not been happy with any of it. They don't have to make me happy. I'm just giving you my opinion. I thought she'd be a killer. Instead, she's a clown. It's disappointing. It's my take. You don't have to agree with me. It's all good, but it's just how I see it. Christopher says, Asuka and Io used to tag team in Japan. You're very much right, 100%. But, again, this was about Io, not about Asuka, and I just wasn't down with it. I want Asuka to be a killer. And if that's not what she wants to be, and if that's not what they want her to be, I guess I'll just have to live with it. But that's what I want her to be. I want her to be the killer that she was in NXT, and she's not been that for a very long time. She could be, totally could be, but it's not happening now. So, like I said before, man, I'm living with it. It is what it is, but I don't know what more I can do about it at that point. So, let's see. Cherie says, what's with the whole WWE Evolve thing? I thought WWE was losing money. That's why they let so many. No, Cherie. Listen, let me tell you something about WWE. They had more money than God and Buddha put together, it seems. They got more cash than they know what to do with. They're swimming in cash. They light cigars with $1,000 bills. Is that a thing? I don't know. They light cigars with stocks and bonds. I don't know. They're lighting cigars is my point. They have more money than God. They're not losing a penny. Haven't been. They're rolling in cash. Never been more financially prosperous. They let people go because it's what. This is WWE. Okay, all bets are off. Common sense, logic, what seems to be the right thing to do, you cannot apply that to pro wrestling companies to begin with, but you especially can't apply that to World Wrestling Entertainment. It's not the same thing. What you and I would deem common sense is not common sense to this company in the slightest. You can't compare. You just can't. You can, but here's what will happen. Your hair will get pulled out very quickly, and if you don't pull it out, what's left or whatever remains will be gray in no time. You'll walk with a limp, you'll stutter to yourself, and you'll hate the world because nothing will make sense. Up is down, black is white. Okay, left is right because it's WWE. I don't have a better explanation. I wish I did. I don't. It's WWE. It's Vince McMahon. It's how he rolls. You guys have to understand who we're talking about here, okay? You cannot like it. You can hate it. It won't do you much good for hating it if I'm being straight with you. I'm just saying. Let's see. Mark says she hasn't had any compelling feuds. You can't feud her with Nia because she has to do all the work. You can't feud anyone with Nia because she has to do all the work. No one can feud with Nia because they have to do all the work. Dude, are you serious? That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. Sandy says they released people who didn't want to stay. Sandy, I disagree with that. You can't say that about everyone they released. You certainly can say that about Jake Maverick, who went online and cried because he was upset he lost his job. You can't say that, man. They didn't. If you're talking about FTR, like the revival, I get it. But that's not who we're talking about here, man. We're not. We're talking about people who didn't want to go. Sal says WWE wants Walter on the main roster. They won't get him because he won't move to the States full time. He's not interested in that. He wasn't interested in that to begin with. He doesn't want to do it now. And Sal, you're right. I'm sure they would love to have him there. I would love to see Walter all the time. But here's the problem. You put Walter on the main roster, guess what happens? What makes him special is no longer going to happen because one word, perhaps two, overexposure. That's what they'll do. It's what they do. It's what they do best. They overexpose the talent, or they're underexposed to the point you're begging to see them, and WWE goes, we don't have to. Because WWE as a company is like a petulant child at times. I know I have an 11-year-old. He acts just like the company. because the company is run by a man who's still 18 in his mind, where adolescent jokes about bodily functions still get a giggle out of him. That's who we're talking about. Okay? Being a billionaire doesn't make you the smartest man in the room. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Financially speaking, yeah, maybe. It doesn't mean you've got the most class, and it obviously doesn't mean you've got the most taste. That's not how he made his money, having class and taste. He made his money by taking chances and putting insane stuff out there. If you throw enough crap at the wall, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, some of it won't slide down the wall and hit the floor. Some of it's going to stick. He just managed to get more crap to stick to the wall than anyone else ever has. That's no disrespect to the talent, no disrespect to the crew. It's no disrespect to anyone working behind the scenes, putting the rings together, on the road crew, driving the trucks, putting together the lighting rigs, on the production teams, these people who are honestly just having a job and feeding their families and doing what they're supposed to do for a living. It's no disrespect to any of them at all. But the case of one guy's vision being in total charge and he won't listen to anyone but himself, that's a detriment. Why else would WWE put NXT on Wednesday nights after AEW announced Wednesday Night Dynamite? If they went to Tuesdays, well, guess what would have happened? They would have put NXT. If they went on Thursday night, NXT Thursday night, go. Because why? When AEW announces, okay, we're going to do Fyter Fest live over 2 weeks, what does WWE do? Go. Great American Bash, go. Because they're trying to hurt that company. They're trying to hurt that brand because they want to offer themselves. You know what you don't want? Here's what I'm telling you. And you can disagree with me all you want to. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. We're all big boys and girls here. We can be honest with each other, right? You don't want WWE to be the only game in town. If you do, you got issues. You don't want Vince McMahon and WWE to be the only game in town because they were for a long time. And you know what happened to pro wrestling? That's what happened to pro wrestling. Okay? Lame, boring, repetitive, monotonous. I can't stand it anymore. Let me find a bridge so as I can jump off it. You want to know how I know? Because I spent 10 years writing about this. And for a lot of those 10 years, WWE was the only game in town, baby. Only game in town. Ring of Honor existed, but nobody cared. Call it like I see it. I'm not one of those people, but a lot of people didn't care. The only game in town was WWE. New Japan existed. Nobody cared. Call it like I see it. WWE was the only game in town. And it got to be so incredibly boring. Remember the John Cena and Randy Orton show? Do you remember? It was every freaking week. Remember the Authority? The McMahon Helmsley era? Every freaking week. You know that little toy robot that winds up in the back and he walks and he hits the wall and he can't move? And you're just watching him, your kid's watching him, he's just hitting the wall and he can't move, he can't turn around. WWE needs other companies out there. You know what's not going to help? WWE buying, they're buying Evolve, which is another company with great talent. You know why? Because they're loading up their roster. Again, number one, these will, if they move forward and say these talents now work for us, I don't know if they are, but if they do, these will be more talents that cannot go to AEW, can't jump to New Japan, can't go to Impact. Period. You want to know why? Because they collect talent. What have I been telling you? Over and over and over and over again. All these years I've been doing this show. Dude, they collect talent. It's what they've been doing for a long time. So no one else can have them. So then they get this great big roster full of talent that guess what? They don't have time for on TV. Makes sense? They don't have time for them. Well, listen here, pal. Put them on a squash match for 20 seconds. You're like, I cheered for this guy at the indie show last month. He was fantastic. He can really work. Doesn't matter now, does it? I'm just saying. God, I'm ranting. Ms. Lopez says, I agree with no competition becomes boring. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mark says not that he needs it. WWE will put it on him until Reigns comes back. SmackDown lacks stars to hold the belt as of now. Gerald says they using the Great American Bash NXT regular show brings down the value of that name of the show. Should have been, yeah. How about Gerald? How about this? How about they sell the name of the Great American Bash to Cody Rhodes because his dad's the one that created it? Because without him, there'd be no Great American Bash. How about that? How about letting Cody use the last name Rhodes? How about that? Dusty Rhodes was Dusty Rhodes before he got to WWE. Okay? All right? But Cody can't use the last name Rhodes. They can't announce him as Cody Rhodes. It's Cody. She can be Brandy Rhodes. He can't be Cody Rhodes. He can be Dustin Rhodes. He can't be Cody Rhodes. You want to know why? Because WWE's funny like that. Okay? Now, if the reason behind that is much less sinister than Tom makes it sound, then fix it. Because what you're doing is alienating even more of your audience who goes, dude, that's so petty. Let the man have his father's last name. Now, I get it. Rhodes was not Dusty's real name. Dusty's real name is Virgil Runnels. I get it. That's not the point. That's not the point at all, dude. It's never been the point, never will be. Period. Let him use the last name Rhodes. You know what's hurting? No one. How many people out there, I'm talking about old school long-term pro wrestling fans, who are still watching today, associate the name Dusty Rhodes with WWE? Do they really? Or they associate it with Jim Crockett and Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, like it should be, okay? God's sake. And people wonder why people like me rant against WWE, because I got to call it like I see it, all right? When he does something right and that company is on their game, I'm the first one out there to tell you that they're on their game, and I'm impressed and I'm happy. They don't have to make me happy. I get it. I get it. Shut up. What I'm saying is I'm the first one out the gate to tell you this was a good move. But, dude, people need to be called out, okay? I'm sorry. One man's vision made him rich, made the whole company a success. I get it. But for those of you in the chat right now who are talking and who are talking about, yeah, Tom, you're the man, all this stuff. Dude, there must be people who agree. They're all over the world, in fact. Jamil says Dazol Vince cares about no one else being able to promote talent. Christopher says wasting talent. Thank you. Wasting talent. Brendan says, Dusty Rhodes, I do like 2% those polka dots, but, oh, Brendan, I have nothing to do with those polka dots. Ms. Polka Dots and I have nothing to say to each other. Shane says, Tom, I missed your interview with HVW promoter Gary. My question to him, maybe you can answer it. What is the biggest headache being a promoter? Other promotions trying to sabotage you. Because, well, what are we talking about right now? It's a big pie. It's a big pie. Okay. It can be a pizza pie. Are you from New York? Or it can be an apple pie. Are you from the South? Okay. The pie's big, baby. It's pretty big. Okay. There's plenty of slices to go around. But when one dude eats all the pie, you're like, dude, you ate all the, what the frick, man? See? That's a big deal. There's enough pie to go around. Tell WWE that. Tell other companies that. They want to backstab and shortchange and spread gossip and rumors, and it's nonsense. It doesn't make me stressed when it comes to HVW, but at the same time, if you're asking what the biggest headache is, that's it. Because it's like, you know, that the little dog saying, where are we going? Where are we going? You know, where are we going? Remember the cartoon? Where are we going, huh? What are we going to do? That's it. Shut up. Smacks him. That's the thing. Like when you're the big dog and you're trying to make, you know, have success and make forward progress, there's a little dog nipping at your heels because he wants to be big like you are and he wants to be important. So yeah, it's like trying to, you know, get a flea off of you. It's kind of the same thing. It's annoying. Man, am I ranting. Let's see. Gerald said The Rock loves pie. We're not talking about that kind of pie. Jeez. All right, so man, I've been ranting. We've spent the whole show doing this. All right, so where are my New Japan fans at? I've got some New Japan fans. I'm watching last night's show. Right now, I'm watching Evil versus Sonata. New Japan, supposedly with, was it next week's shows, I think, or maybe the end of this week? Well, it is the end of the week. Next week's shows, they're going to start letting fans in. We're talking about around 3,000 fans. Now, even if you're not a New Japan fan, you can relate this to what's going on in the States right now. So let me ask you a question. How are you feeling about letting fans back in? Because I'll tell you this, in Japan, The people in Japan will not make this political. They will not claim that COVID is a hoax and it's all nonsense. Okay. All right. They will practice social distancing. They will all be wearing masks. I guarantee it. All right. Which they should, which we should be doing here. But again, political, unfortunately. So I'm interested to see. And on top of this, man, I don't know what I think about letting fans in right now. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow's July 4th, as we all know in this country. And if you're not in the States, it's a big deal here in America. It's our Independence Day. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, ask me what a great idea it was to have parties for July 4th. Because in about 2 weeks from now, we're going to find out. Because no one's going to be wearing masks or practicing social distancing. I'm just saying. But yeah, New Japan is going to let fans in starting next week. The number we're hearing is around 3,000 folks. We'll see what happens. That's a lot of people, man. I mean, for this environment, for sure. Mark says, I'm a huge fan of Kota Ibushi. I like to watch him more often. He's fantastic. He's fantastic for sure. Carly says, I'm waiting to get a ticket when it comes to my town. They came to the Carolinas. They came to Concord over a year ago now. And it was at the time when, our, but the president of this country had the you couldn't travel ban and stuff. So the New Japan talent couldn't come over. So the entire show was American talents that worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling. We still had fun. My kid and I still had fun, but we didn't get to see any of the guys. It sucked. I didn't get to see New Japan when they came to town this last time. Tanahashi was with them. I still regret not going to that show. It was a much farther drive for me, and it was on a Tuesday night, and I just couldn't make that work. And man, I wanted to see Tana live, and it sucks. So yeah. Most Lopez says, I love New Japan. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But the New Japan Cup right now, as we said before, no fans at the moment. It is getting it's just an empty arena. I think, is that Kurikan Hall? I think where they've been holding the shows. They're sanitizing. They have like 6 matches, sanitizing the ring, the ropes, everything after 3 matches. Doing what they can to be safe, and which is awesome. The big names are not in the tournament, really. The biggest, what you consider to be, Tanahashi's going to win. Tanahashi's out. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I haven't finished watching this show. Right now I'm watching Evil versus Sonata. So I love New Japan, and I love watching it, and I'm glad that they're back to business, and I hope everyone's going to stay healthy and safe, and everyone, of course, stays safe in the ring, obviously. But yeah, I enjoy the product. If you never had a chance to watch it, I highly advise it. But yeah, we've had some good matches so far. Makabe and Ishii, dude. If you've never seen Tomohiro Ishii and Makabe, then man, you are missing out. You're missing out. Every time they get in the ring, it's a war. It's a flat out car crash, man, for sure. Togi Makabe. So the Unchained Gorilla and the Stone Pitbull. It's fantastic. If you're an old school pro wrestling fan, you'd love that stuff for sure. No doubt about it. Dennis says, I heard Petey Williams become a multi-millionaire for everyone using his Canadian. He should be. No doubt about it. He's not going to be, because no one's going to, they don't want to change, and they'll call it Mexican Destroyer. It's the Canadian Destroyer, people. All right. That's what it is. Gerald says, enjoy the Attitude Era more than now. Yeah, I agree with you. I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you. I don't get too wrapped up in that kind of stuff, because the eras come and go. The Attitude Era was another era for me, because I didn't become a fan during the Attitude Era. I was already a fan. I wasn't born a WWE fan like a lot of people were. God bless them. I was born an NWA Jim Crockett fan, Crockett Promotions fan, and I sort of morphed into watching other products and companies over the years, that kind of thing. But, I watch it through those lenses. I don't watch anything through the lenses of WWE, or I try not to. Ms. Lopez says, anything on MLW? Nothing concrete, Ms. Lopez. Thank you for the question. I do enjoy MLW. I miss seeing their shows. They continue to make deals. Their social media is always talking about deals they've made worldwide. I don't know where they're going right now. I'm always concerned at this point, especially with the way the world is right now, the way the business is right now. A lot of these smaller companies are closing up shop. I don't want to see that happen to MLW. As much as it's hard to watch Impact, I don't want to see it happen to Impact either. So we'll see what happens. Listen, to wrap up the show today, someone actually touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to get your guys' thoughts before we take it home today. In terms of the Wednesday Night Wars, do you care about the competition between NXT and AEW? Does it really matter all that much to you? Is it really a big deal? Are you there just for the wrestling? Do you really get into, well, let's see if NXT is going to be able to respond? Do you really care about that? Is it more just, hey, look, just entertain me. I just want to have fun watching the wrestling. I just want to have fun watching the shows. So that's what I want to know from you guys right now. How do you feel about the so-called competition between the two? Does it do something for you? Do you care about it? Do you not care about it? I'm just curious because I know what my thoughts are, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. What do you guys believe about this so-called competition between both companies? Is it something that you want to see? Do you get tired of hearing it? Do you get tired of hearing the ratings being talked about all the time? Sometimes I do. If anyone tells you ratings are no longer important, they're fooling themselves, if I'm being totally honest with you. I don't believe that at all. Gerald says, just love watching the show and the storylines. There you are, Gerald. Christopher says, I watch AEW, DVR, NXT. Usually the same for me. Same for me. Sandy, where'd you go, my friend? There you are. Says, I want both to be awesome shows. I agree with you. Agree with you. Chris says, I don't care about it. I'm a fan. Good on you. I keep seeing people say that they watch AEW Live and DVR NXT. Shannon, loyal fan, thank you for that. Doesn't matter to me. Just glad to have a great night of wrestling. Same here. Same here. I can't say that I care about it in as much as WWE cares about it because they're obviously trying to drive AEW out of the business. That bothers me because it doesn't need to happen. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to buy Evolve. It wasn't necessary to try to go after Impact at one point. It's not necessary to do any of those things. Just let these companies live. Just let them live. You know what I mean? It's how I feel. Jamil says more pro wrestling is a good thing. Couldn't agree with you more. For a lot of reasons, not the least of which is entertainment value. But on top of that, it's another place for the men and women of the industry to work, to get a job, to provide for their families, to make an honest living. Or if you want to use the word I don't care. Make a living lying to people about what they do in the ring. It's, you get it. You get what I'm saying. So yeah, man, but yeah, I totally get you. Let's see. Cherie says it's not like the Monday Night Wars, but we did go back and forth depending on who's wrestling. Well, there you go. I did during the Monday Night Wars, like you, probably you and a lot of other people watching right now. A lot of other people in this country did flip back and forth between Raw and Nitro. I did all the time. I just wanted to see what was going on. I didn't have DVR at that time. It was just VCRs, man. So, you record the shows and watch them anyway. Still flip back and forth because you're just such a wrestling fan, wanted to see what was going to go on. No, it's not like that now for me either. I agree with that. Shane says it's great for wrestling fans to have competition. They're both fighting for your money. They're both trying to put on the best show possible. I agree with that. Ms. Lopez says give AEW a chance. It's good. I agree with that for sure. Chad says, why are wrestling fans never happy? I thought the competition was a great thing. Whew. Chad, that's a great big topic, my friend. Why are wrestling fans never happy? It takes a lot more time to answer than I'm going to take for the show today, but I'll give you the cliff notes if you'd like to hear them because you asked. I'm just going to give you my own take on it. I think it's a combination of things. I think a lot of the problems that fans have with this begins and ends with Vince McMahon. And I'm just telling you through the lens of what my perception is of the whole situation. Yes, people bash AEW, but why do they bash AEW? Yes, people bash Impact. Why do they bash it? Yes, people have bashed Ring of Honor and even New Japan, but why do they bash them? Why is that? Do they bash them because of the example that WWE has set in the past? Have they bashed them for the criticism that WWE has thrown out in the past because of what they perceive to be real pro wrestling, what a pro wrestling show should look like? Is that all tainted by their view and by their... I'm not saying you individually. I'm talking about as a collective. Are we, for lack of a better term, brainwashed about what a pro wrestling presentation is supposed to look like because of WWE over the years? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer it for yourself, okay? I don't want to put words in your mouth, thoughts in your head. It's entirely up to you what you think, believe, and feel about this topic. In my belief system, however, from where I'm coming from, yes, I believe it's fully influenced from start to finish by what WWE has done in the industry over the years. It's just how I feel. Now, if let's say WWE was firing on all cylinders, didn't put hokey stuff on TV, didn't begin a show with a 20-minute promo, didn't do all the contrived silly tropes, would they still get bashed? I would say probably so. Would it be to the extent that it is now? Maybe not. Hard to know because they're not going to change. They have made it clear that they're not going to change for you. They're sure not going to change for me. They don't care what you think. Now, money talks, but here's the problem. That people are still buying the product. They're still watching the content. They're still buying the merch. Now, audience numbers are not what they used to be. Ratings are not what they used to be. Do either one of those things affect the way WWE does business? No. Well, know why? Because it's WWE. I wish I had a better answer for you than that, but I'm just telling you the way I see it. That's just how I feel. Sandy says competition makes the best shows. I agree with you. I totally agree with you for that. Israel says Vince needs to let Triple H take over the business. When Vince McMahon is no longer with us as a living, breathing being, then perhaps we'll see that. And I'll believe that when I see it. I don't know that Triple H is the heir apparent, if I'm being honest with you. Shane says that is the reason I watch all wrestling, not just competition, but watching the talent of the companies, not just watch the same old WWE crap. Wrestling needs variety. I could not agree with you more. Ms. Lopez says, I love, was it to watch all wrestling promotions? I don't criticize because I'm going to watch it no matter what. There you go. See, Ms. Lopez is a fan. She doesn't watch the critical eye. I do watch with a critical eye. I'm not going to lie about that, but there's a reason for that because I've been paid for my opinion over the years. I've been paid to cover this stuff. I've never been paid to say, this is what happened. It was fun. I'm not paid for that. I'm paid for my take, for my opinion on it. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a different thing for me. I'm not like a front page reporter for the Miami Herald or for the New York Times. That's not my gig. My gig has been an editorialist, a commentator, the guy that writes his opinions, an analyst. I've always referred to myself as an analyst first and foremost. It's how I think of myself. So yes, I have a jaded perception. I'm in the business with a pro wrestling company. My perception's a bit jaded. It doesn't mean yours has to be, and I get why yours isn't. But yeah, mine's a bit jaded if I'm being totally honest with you. Jamil says, every Monday, Friday, my wife makes fun of the 20-minute opening promo. Yeah, I see that a lot. Mark asks, is Velveteen Dream getting released? I've not heard anything substantial on that. To be honest with you, I've not heard anything substantial. Israel asks if Tessa Blanchard is to be bound. My friend, when you see her there you will have your answer because right now I'm not sure. Supposedly they have interest. They've sent feelers her way. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll wait and see what happens. Could I see her facing off with Charlotte? You better believe it. Blanchard and Flair. Can you imagine how that would sound? And my chair creaks. This is a brand new chair. It's bought last year, man. Crazy. But yeah, Blanchard and Flair. I mean, I firmly believe we're going to see that happen. I don't know when. Don't know when. Christopher says more companies, better product. I couldn't agree with you more for sure. Sandy says anything. No, Sandy, and it's been all quiet on the Western Front here lately. Legitimately quiet on the Western Front. This thing is creeping back into Hollywood, though. There's actors on TV and movies now. It's coming back full circle. Music is happening too. The video game world is going through it right now. This thing has empowered women to come forward. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you are a woman who has undergone something before that you didn't want to talk about, you were afraid to discuss it, you felt like you would be physically threatened or worse, if you felt like you couldn't talk and you were having to keep silent for any of those reasons or more or all the above, you should come out because it's time to tell your story. And I know that's what a lot of these women are doing. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Like I said, if it's true and it's all 100% on the up and up and it's not just someone grinding an axe, not to be all like that about it because you know that, but let's be honest, sometimes it's not true. But if it's the truth and you've been wronged, then you should get justice. That's just how I feel. Is Charlotte really hurt or is it work? Jamil, I don't have confirmation of that right now, if I'm being honest with you. Supposedly she is injured, but it could just be she wanted some time off. Mark's talking about reeling the restraining order. So the word on that right now, and it's the word that's been on for a while. Yeah, stalker. Supposedly this thing's been happening for a while, and they've known about it this whole time. I guess is just for transparency's sake, he told them up front, maybe, or it came out and he was honest with them. But this has been happening long before she ever went public and started telling the story that supposedly she's been stalking him. Now, who are you going to believe? That's the next question when it comes to this topic. I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know what the answer is to that. It's entirely up to you what you believe personally. Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for us today. I want to wish everyone out there a happy 4th. If you're in this country, happy 4th of July. I want to thank everybody for hanging out today, for joining us, for making this show as fun as you always do. Thank you so much for giving us your questions, comments, words of wisdom. I do very much appreciate it. Thanks for watching the main event. When you and I hang out next Friday, I will have a brand new bass right there on that stand. This will be 3 in the family for yours truly. It's a 4-string Fender. Can't wait to get it. Going to pick that sucker up today. So, yeah, if you'll be needing me later tonight, I won't be around. I'll be jamming. So there you go. All right, man, that's all I got for you. Listen, once again, I want to thank everyone for hanging out. I want to thank everyone for being there, for supporting yours truly, for supporting the show. Please continue to support Wrestling Rumors, WrestlingRumors.net. Please continue to support the website. Much thanks to Heidi, Ron, the whole crew at Wrestling Rumors for getting us this platform. We do greatly appreciate it. I think it's time we get out of here. Let's take this thing home. Thanks again, folks, for hanging out. Yes. There's the end credits. We're getting out of here, man. Thanks. Have a good, safe, happy holiday weekend. We'll see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.